please welcome on stage from Married with Children, David Faustino!
Hello, Vilnius, Lithuania.
So how's Lithuania treating you so far?
How's the city treating me?
Yeah, and the city and the country and the people.
It's been great. I had no idea what to expect. I've never been to Lithuania before. I really did not know what to expect. And because I'm really last minute with everything I do, I didn't even I was like, oh, I'm going to Lithuania today at 5 o'clock. Like, maybe I should look at the weather. Like, I had no idea, because I'm from Cali, California, so it's, I thought our summer is still in full effect. And obviously yours is not.
It's not summer, here.
Yeah.
Well, we had quite decent one, yeah. So I believe all the people that are gathered here today, they have the same nagging question concerning Married with Children.
Okay.
And I believe I'm asking for all of you. How's the dog in person? Is he nice?
How's the dog in person?
Yeah. I believe everyone's interested.
Well, the dog is dead as a doornail, so he's really not that nice right now.
But was it nice?
He's 6 feet under the ground, but up until that point, he was awesome. No, he was a great dog. His actual real name was Mike the dog. Mike was his name, and eventually the trainer changed it to Buck just because people referred to him. But he was a sweet dog. He was what kind of dog? It was like a French Briard. Is that how you...
I'm not sure. I'm not that good with dogs. Yeah.
Anyway, it was Buck was a great dog. He almost bit me once though. Because we were best friends, me and the dog. I loved the dog loved me, but what I didn't realize is, dogs are very territorial, and we were leaving a rap party one night. We had finished one of the seasons, and it was time to go home, and we had a big party, and then I was a little kid, I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I saw the dog, his trainer was still inside fucking getting smashed, drinking. And I was like, oh, I want to go say goodbye to Buck, and I was like, hey, Buck. I mean, he almost took my hand off, so I was like, okay, that was not a good idea.
Tough love. Yeah. So I believe we should start with Married with Children, and you were only 13 when it started, or 12? When you got cast in there?
I got cast at 12, but I was almost 13. So, by the time we started shooting, I was 13, yeah.
But when it ended, you were like 23 already?
I was like 24, yeah.
24. What was it like to be 24 and play a guy who's like 16-ish and very, very looks very, very virgin?
I mean, I still act 16, and I could possibly quite still be a virgin. I don't know. Well, I'm working on that. No, it's not true because I have a child. So unless it's not my child, I can't say.
But I believe playing virgin on the show should have helped with the ladies in real life.
In a strange way, it did. In a weird, because obviously. Women love the leading man and the sexy man and the confident man. Who doesn't, right? But there's also another school of oh, Bud, come on, Bud. We just want Bud to win. You know what I mean? So I was there for the winnings. I was there to take the winnings. Yeah.
But I've Googled a lot and I've found that. Actually, Bud Bundy wasn't virgin at all. He had sex at least 7 times.
Did he?
With 7 different women.
I could never keep track because it was odd. The writing was.
It's 7. It's not a huge track to keep on.
It's the what?
It's only 7 people. It's not a huge track to keep on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of 7, do you remember 7, the little baby that they brought in on the show? Does anybody remember the little baby that it was like a kid they brought in for one season? Yeah, I'm getting booze, which is exactly. It was awful. It was the worst mistake they ever made. And the kid, and God bless his soul, I mean, I'm sure he's talented at something else. He's just not, he wasn't an actor. So, the poor kid, they're like, get out there and say your lines. The kid's just like he had no fucking clue what he was doing. So, consequently, he got fired. Yeah.
I hope he got.
It's a cold business out there. I don't care if you're 5, you're getting fired.
I hope he got a severance package. Actually, there's a kid over there. I believe he'll be fired or something. I heard a cry. So, what was it like to be like 13, 14, 15, 16 and be famous? 'Cause this was a hit series. This was very well known and received series. What was it like to be a kid and play in this kind of TV series and be this famous, even though you're from California, I believe, and you lived in California then?
Yeah.
Maybe so, where everyone is famous or wanted to be. But what was it like?
Well, for me, and you touched on it earlier, like I had done tons of stuff before Married with Children, even though I was only 12. Like, you mentioned I'd done Family Ties and Fantasy Island and Love Boat and Unhappily Ever After, and I mean, it just went on, but I had never booked my own show. Like that was my dream, like more than anything, more than even a big movie. Like I just wanted to book a series. And so I literally prayed every single night for a series, and sure enough, I got one. But I forgot the substance to your question.
What was it like? Because I believe did you stay at school? What was it like? What was the reaction from the outside and from other people?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was. It's interesting, like, going from not being really recognizable at all, even though I had done those shows. But no, people aren't gonna go, "Hey, you were that one episode of
Little House on the Prairie."
Yeah, exactly. So when I got the show, I was just head over heels, and the way it worked out was. They had, they read a bunch of Bud Bundys and they read a bunch of Kelly Bundys, and they auditioned them all, and then they sort of weeded it down into the last 3 Kellys and the last 3 Buds, because they had already hired Al and Peg and all of them, and they had hired the 2 kids too, Bud and Kelly, but they fired Bud and Kelly, the first 2 actors. So we got really, 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 really lucky. I had auditioned for the show, and I didn't even get a call back the first time. So this other kid got it, and another Kelly got the role. And for whatever reason, thank God for us, it didn't work out. Then they put out another, we're reading this new show, Married with Children. But at the time, I had switched agents, so even though I wasn't supposed to go back in, my agent snuck me back in. And this time it went great.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. But what I would like to say about those times of testing and network testing those days, it was a really, 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 really challenging process. I mean, it's almost, I liken it to sort of like American Idol in a way. And these shows where they put you through the gauntlet. It's like you go on the one audition, and then there's a callback, and then there's another callback with these other people, then there's another callback, and then you go to network when you mix and match with all the other actors. It's a brutal process. It really is. It's difficult. I almost find it's easier to do as a child than it is to do as an adult.
Why though?
Because I think as a child you're not as afraid of life. You don't realize how bad life can just slap the shit out of you yet. So you're just kind of like, hey, and so there was an innocence and a lack of fear that I long for those days of innocence where you didn't have as much fear.
Yeah. So.
I'll take that smattering of applause.
Someone wanted to start a round of applause, but didn't have the necessary leadership skills.
A smatter is all I need. Thank you.
Yeah, that's more. That's a lot more.
Thank you.
So, I believe a lot of 90% of people that are here grew up watching Married with Children. It was on telly all the time, like different reruns and stuff like that.
I did not know that about Lithuania, by the way.
Yeah, we had some. The fun thing was that it was what we do in Lithuania. They overdub.
I saw
the characters. But they don't. They use like one voice or 2 voices at the most. So it's like there's one female voice playing all the females and one male voice playing.
And how does that work out for the Lithuanian people?
We're used to that. I believe coming from abroad and watching that, it would sound weird when 45-year actor overdubs a 12-year-old actor in the TV series, but it worked out.
Well, one of the biggest places that like the most popular that Married with Children is, like maybe by a long shot, is Germany. The Germans love Married with Children. Like they love Married with Children. As a matter of fact, they tried to. There was such a big hit out there that they sent a group of German writers, like 10 of them, to the set to follow around our main writers because it was such a big hit out there. They wanted to start their own version. So the Germans put this, after studying us for weeks upon weeks, they went and wrote these episodes and they put it on TV and German television, and German people were just like, what is this shit? Please bring us back the original. So we got lucky that way, but it was a smash hit there though, and it transcends sort of all like rich people love it, poor people love it,
Lithuanians love it.
Lithuanians love it, white people love it, black people love it, purple people love it. I mean, it just kind of transcends all because I think even as rich, if you're rich, you can still relate to a sense of lack and your wife or your kids trying to take away your stuff. And if you're poor, then you understand it.
Yeah, you relate
all
it
the
like
better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I believe, well, a lot of grew up watching this, and well, I believe when I was watching this when I was 12 or 13, I was laughing at different things that I am laughing now.
Yeah.
Because for example, when I was watching, I was like, I watched the straightforwardly funny things, but now I can see like layers and how is that ironic? How did it make it so look so? What kind? How many people wrote that and how they wrote that?
There's a couple answers to your question.
Yeah, sure.
One is I'll say this. Married with Children, and I know you'll hear this from a lot of people, or you won't actually. Some people will admit their sets suck. Married with Children was one of the greatest sets to work on of all time. I mean, from the producers, Ron Levitt and Michael Moy, who created the show, they set the bar, they set the tone. And from them on down, like, it wasn't like a job. You didn't go there and you weren't afraid, oh, what if I say the wrong line? And it was a very loose set, and I think that's what really lent to the success of it. And they didn't make us do it over. I go to these sitcom sets now, and I watch my friends shooting, and like, do it again. That's not how you get comedy out of, like, you don't. It's like, let's do it 3 times and call it quits. And that's what we did on Married with Children. I mean, we would just do a few takes, and that would be it.
Let's talk about your character in the show, Bud Bundy. For me, he looks like a bit of an outcast of the family, because like he's intelligent. He went to college. He's like he's in this instance, he's like better than everyone else. He's more intelligent.
He's the least Bundy-ish.
Yeah, he's at least maybe maybe he was adopted or something.
You can't fall far from the tree, but he's a little less Bundy.
He did his best. So how much of David Faustino is there in Bud Bundy when you played? How much could you improvise? How could you make Bud Bundy you, or was very different than you?
I think the answer to that question, because I always like to give the writers and the creators their props first. A lot of shows, you'll see like a Veep and these shows that most of those shows are improv-based shows, right? So they're writing kind of as they're going. Where Married with Children was more of a classic sitcom in that the writers wrote 95% of everything. So I can't even take credit away from them. Of course, if we were in a rehearsal and something hilarious came out, they were like, oh, hell yeah, we got to keep that. But for the most part, it was about 95% of the writing. We had a tremendous writing group. The cast did their job well, and the writers did their job well, and it was a good mold. There was a part A to that question, wasn't there?
Sorry?
Was there a part B to that question?
Yeah, but you basically answered. So, Yeah, I believe we will have some 15 minutes at the end of the panel for the audience questions. I believe a lot of them will be related to this show, so I believe we could move on to some other project of yours, because you've done a lot of others as well. Actually, it comes from Married with Children as well, but one of your alter egos, one of your personas was Grandmaster B.
Yes.
On the show. Do we have some fans of Grandmaster B? This guy.
Grandmaster B in the building. Yeah, Grandmaster B was a character that was sparked by me. I mean, I didn't go to them and say, hey, you should write this character. But I became a big hip-hop fan very, very, very early on in life. Like, literally at 12 years old, I started listening to, like, underground hip-hop and...
It was still 80s. Yeah, 80,
it was 87,
87,
yeah. Nas's album, Illmatic, was just dropping, which that's another story I'll tell here in a second, because I put his poster up on my bedroom wall on the Married with Children show.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was very excited about that. So he sent me a thank you note and stuff. It was cool. But we were saying...
Yeah, so Grandmaster B...
Yeah, Grandmaster B came out of, again, the writers being brilliant enough to they had a really great skill at sort of watching us, the cast, and going, how can we poke fun at them this week? Like Ed with his, you know, his anger or whatever it is, me with my rap career. So Marcy with her chicken legs, they would always find a way to tease us. But you know what? The audience loved it. The audience loved it, and
yeah, it was very like it was nice addition to the
exactly. And so it was smart of the writers to be able to do that. The only thing I consciously did as an actor, even at that young of an age, to try to make it more real, is I tried to emulate Al as much as possible. Like my whole mission was like, okay, he's my dad. Ed's a tremendous actor. Let me learn from him, and also let me steal some of his you know, mannerisms and things, so I actually seem like his son, and that's what I worked on.
But you actually had your hand in hip hop in real life as well.
I do, yeah.
You worked under alias D Lil.
D Little was my first iteration. D Little was a hip hop. So I ran hip hop clubs for years. That was my second passion, and music is still my second passion. I DJ and all that stuff. But I started a club in the 1990s called Ballistics. It was the biggest hip-hop club in Los Angeles by a long shot. And at that time, hip-hop in Los Angeles was sort of relegated to the ghettos. They wouldn't allow it to come up to the Sunset Strip or to Beverly Hills or to Hollywood. But because I had an in with the cops loved Married with Children, bro. They should. Cops love Married with Children. I've got out of more shit from being Bud Bundy, like that I should never have gotten out.
And it's not only like speeding tickets. Some more serious things as well.
And it's not just the celebrity thing, because I've gone out with some other celebrities who may be even bigger celebrities than me, but because there's a lovability. A likability and a non-threatening kind of lovability to Bud Bundy. Like cops, they'll pull me over like, hey. So that's kind of been my experience with cops, and it's been tremendous actually. Yeah.
So you also worked and still work, I believe, as a voice actor.
I do.
How is that different from playing like? A version of you on TV or on stage or everywhere else, when you have to do everything with your voice, like with Legend of Korra and How to Train Your Dragon. What are the differences, and what's more enjoyable for you?
If I'm going to be completely honest, the differences are even though you have to, like if you're doing a voiceover gig, you have to bring your sort of acting 100,000% as if you were on the screen, right? Or else it's just not going to come out right. However, I will say this, you don't have to memorize the lines. So that makes it a lot easier. And the best part of it all, though, is neither of those. The best part of it all is when you're on a set, you're going, you know, your call may be 7 a.m. and you may get out of there at 8 or 9 p.m. that night, and that's it, your life is over. When you do voiceover and cartoons, I mean, you're shocked if you go over 2 hours. So it's like the greatest gig in the world, you know, and you get to see your kids and you get to enjoy life a little bit more. Because living life on a set like that it's a grind, and you don't, you know, it's a lot.
Yeah. So you also played and created, I believe, the web series Star-ving. Is that right?
Yes.
Where you played the exaggerated version of yourself.
Super exaggerated.
So, what was it like to play a version of yourself, even though an exaggerated? Was it fun? Was it horrible? Was it hard?
Okay, so a lot of people are probably not familiar with Star-ving because it was a sort of an underground show, but it was a show I created with Corin Nemec, who's also an actor, and we basically made fun of my life years later after Married with Children had ended and I lost everything. And so we sort of exaggerated that. We had a tremendous cast. We even did a Married with Children reunion episode where, because like my character is destitute. He's like, oh my God, I'm never gonna work again. This whole town hates me. What am I gonna do? I'm never gonna make money. And then he reads in the trades, he reads in the newspaper, Married with Children movie remake. And he goes, movie? You know, so he rushes to the set, and as he gets there, Ed O'Neill, you know, Al Bundy's there, Christina Applegate, Katie Seagal, the dog, the whole thing. And, you know, they get to their lines, they all say their lines, and then when they get to my line that I'm supposed to speak, just as I'm about to say it, Seth Green is there, and Seth Green is taking over my role. So that's kind of how it went.
That sounds very fun.
Yeah, so
it was a bit sad.
It was a fun show. It was very risque, overly risque.
Can we still find it somewhere online?
I literally think they pulled it off the market. That's how offensive people found it.
Oh yeah, talking about offensive, there's still one question that I wanted to ask you when we were talking about Married with Children. Well, a lot of humor, a lot of jokes in Married with Children, you see they're over the top, but they're like, they may look offensive. Like they may look, yeah, as I told you, over the top. Do you think, would it be possible to make such sitcom in this social climate? Because
it would just matter. There's two answers to that. Well, the first is if you try to be like a sissy about it and sort of kowtow around it and be scared, then you might as well go home before you show up. If you just decide to say fuck it and go for it and make it Married with Children the way it was, then I think it has a chance. But you can't soften it. People will write letters because Al Bundy always made fun of heavy people,
yeah.
You know, that was a lot. He made fun of the French a lot. He didn't like the French for some reason.
And he also, well, after him, like I believe no one wanted to sell shoes because it was like the lowest job in the world. And
didn't that suck for shoe salesmen across the world?
But people need shoes, so
I know. I never understood. I guess it was the whole idea of selling, you know, women's shoes that really. There was a great line, and he says, she says, there's a heavy set lady in there, and she's trying to buy a shoe, and she says, I'm a 5. He says, look, lady, you're not a 5, okay? You're not a 5. He goes, for the last half hour, I've been trying to squeeze your foot into a size 5, when really I should have been easing them into the box. You know, so there was a lot of that kind of thing.
Some fans of shoes there. So yeah, you just one more question from me.
That's it?
No. I believe we have some audience questions as well, but I have one. Cause I wanted to keep it for the end because I believe you wouldn't like it if we started that way. You and Christina Applegate, was there anything in that? Because you're only brother and sister in series, you're not in real life.
No, to be quite honest with you, Christina and I, although there was like opportunities for that to happen, especially when we were traveling, you know what I mean? We traveled across the world together, but to be quite honest with you, I think both of us were smart enough to know that it could be detrimental to the show. I really do. I had a girlfriend on the show that played Marcy's niece, Amber was her name, and she lived in the house next door, and they wrote her in as a regular cast member, but we fell in love with each other really quickly, and it got awkward, and she was nervous, and I was nervous, and consequently she ended up getting replaced, which is a horrible thing to have to happen to anyone, and so it was a kind of a lesson to me. It's like, don't poop where you eat. You know?
Yeah, and never date your coworkers is also a great advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, David.
Hey, brother, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. So, out of your other projects, when you are a voice actor, which one is your favorite and why is it Super Fuckers?
Super Fuckers. Oh, man, you're going back. Wow. You like Super Fuckers?
Big fan.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. I thought it would go further, unfortunately. I think we only did, like 6 episodes or something? Or 1 season, maybe?
Yeah. 3, more like.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't go... You're the only one who liked it.
Come on, it's the best show ever.
It was good. I thought it was well done myself. I think it was... People didn't get it, I don't think. I think it was a little too ahead of its time. But my favorite character I do voiceover-wise, although I love Legend of Korra because I think that the writing is so tremendous from Michael and Brian. But my favorite cartoon character I play by far is Dagur on How to Train Your Dragon on Netflix. Because he's just the best, most fun, like bad guy but idiot all at the same time. Like, he's just so much fun to play. So I really enjoy that.
If it's not too difficult, could you do an impression of that?
I'd have to be yelling a lot. He's always yelling about things, and then he's wrong at the end. And I told you to do that. Oh wait, I'm wrong. So he's always wrong and he's always yelling. But you can catch it on Netflix right now. I mean, you can go home and search Netflix Dragons, and I play Dagur. It's a well-written show as well. It's a lot of fun. My daughter's starting. She's 3.5, so she's starting to finally go, oh my God, that's Daddy. He actually does do things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. So I don't know if this was mentioned before, but while Bud was taking a driving test, he mentioned an 80-year-old Lithuanian woman. Was there any story behind that?
No, but I saw that the clip that they played yesterday when we showed up and they were playing the clips. I had totally, completely forgotten about that line 1,000% until they played it up there yesterday. I was like, oh shit, that's funny. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. I'm glad you guys found it though. You did your homework.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
I love that the Bundys mentioned Lithuania. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, because it's set in Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
And Chicago has a lot of Lithuanians, like a lot of Lithuanians went
Do
to.
they?
Yeah.
Oh,
There are like
big...
400,000 people of Lithuanian descent
I did not know
live in
that.
Chicago. And
I thought they'd be more in New York or mostly Chicago.
No, they went to Chicago. Yeah, please do.
I always wanted to ask because on set, Al was always making fun of Marcy, like saying she has chicken legs and stuff. So I wanted to know, how was their relationship offset? Was it okay? Was she ever get offended or anything?
You know, it's funny you bring that up. Of all the relationships on that set, and I believe I mentioned this when I first sat down, it was the greatest set to work on of all time. I mean, it was, although the one relationship that had its moments was with Amanda Burse, who played Marcy, and with Ed O'Neill, who played Al. And the reason being, they're both very strong personalities, and she doesn't take shit from anyone. And Ed's just he's just a stinker, you know. He's like a stinker. He likes to make fun and poke fun, and he's a lot of fun. And so they would bump heads a little bit.
Okay, thank you. And just one more short question. Do you have a favorite episode for yourself?
I do. I think I have two favorite episodes, and they both happen to be Christmas episodes. The first one being a two-parter episode with Sam Kinison, the great comedian, Sam Kinison, God rest his soul, one of the greatest comedians of all time, and one of the greatest people of all time. But he did an episode where, you know the movie It's a Wonderful Life? And you know, the angel comes back and shows how screwed everybody's life will be if he had never been born. Well, in our version, the ghost comes back and Al says, you know, I wish I had never lived. And the ghost takes him back, and everybody's life is amazing. We're like rich, we're smart.
I do remember that episode.
We're innocent.
It was great.
Yeah. Our last name is Jablonski, and the guy who played the dad, that was before Ted McGinley, who played Jefferson. That was before he came on the show. So he played, He played the perfect dad. So it was funny because you know how we did the Whoa Bundys? So in the end of that episode, because our last name is Jablonski now, we go, whoa, Jablonski. And you see Ed, they cut to Ed, he goes, Jablonski. He's just,
Actually, Jablonski is Lithuanian / Polish last name, so.
There you have it.
Yeah, so.
Oh, thank you very much, and have a nice time here.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
All I want to ask is, what do you think about Lithuania?
What do I think about Lithuania?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I had some really, really good food last night. I had these like potato-y...
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram you had cepelinai. It's called cepelinai. Zeppelins, yeah. Cepelinai.
I had those, and I gotta be honest, when I first looked at them, I thought, what the fuck are these pears doing on my plate? Why am I gonna eat these pears? And then I realized quickly that, then I thought they were potatoes, but then the consistency was so odd.
Yeah, because it's different parts.
It's like a gnocchi in a way, right?
In a way.
And I found it was delicious. It was great.
Hi, I wanted to ask, are you still in touch with cast of Married with Children?
Very much so. More some than others. I talk to Christina Applegate on a regular basis because she has her child is just a couple years older than mine, and they both went to the same school. As a matter of fact, my real sister was Christina's daughter's teacher. So it's like all in the family, and my kids now go to that school, and now Christina is getting me into the elementary school I want to take my daughter in. So we're still very close, and with Ed. I don't talk to Katie as much, and it's not because we don't get along, it's just, you know, she's a mom with kids, and she has her own life, and so I don't speak to her as much. And I don't talk to Amanda, who played Amanda Burst, because I believe she lives out in Georgia somewhere. So, mainly the four family members.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
So I just wanted to ask you, was there any forbidden episodes of Married with the Children? And if so, could you please tell us a bit more about it?
Forbidden?
Yes, like
couldn't air? Like couldn't air. I think there was one, right? There was one episode where I believe there was only one, and I think they finally ended up airing it like maybe 5 years ago somewhere. But it was an episode where Al and Peg go on a vacation, and they find out that in their hotel room there's cameras set up to film people having intercourse. Right. And so they're like, oh, yo, we're gonna sue the crap out of this place. Yeah, we're in the money. So they go to court, and the sex is so fast that the jury can't prove that there was actually sex that took place. Which was a funny episode, but it got really like detailed and stuff. So Fox pulled that one. It's too bad because it was a funny episode. But I think, like I said, they ended up airing it later on.
Do you have your dream character, maybe, or what you want, voice you want to do, maybe in the future?
That's a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you. No, my thing is, I just like to stay inspired. I like to stay challenged. I work on music. I DJ. I write. I write like a madman, and I audition and do voiceover and raise my child, and that's kind of what I do. Did I answer your question at all? Did I?
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of what I do. Hi.
He say thank you. Achi.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I needed that today.
Hi, David.
Hi.
I have two very short questions. First one would be why the first actor that played the neighbor's husband was pulled out? And the second one, of course, I guess everybody is very interested in whether you will have the reunion.
Okay, so two great questions. Are we in a rush?
We have time. We have time.
Her first question was, why did the first neighbor leave? So you had Ted, McGinley, Jefferson, but before him you had Steve, right? Marcy and Steve. And to be quite honest with you, it wasn't the fact that the producers didn't want him or the director didn't want him, they wanted him. They wanted him to stay, and he, God bless his soul. I actually like Dave, but he just when they first approached him to do the show, it was going to be more like the adults, and then the kids will come in and they'll say a couple lines, but then Christina and I started bringing it. We started being funny on our own. So I think he had a problem with that, and. He took that gamble. A lot of actors do, though. If I leave season 3, I might have a big, giant movie career. Didn't quite work out for him that way. But I like Dave, and he still works on Broadway. He also, the other thing, the reason he hated it, he hated Los Angeles, with a passion. He had the worst earthquake paranoia of anyone I've ever met. Also, all he would think about is earthquakes. So that was the other reason. He hated being in LA. But running into him years later, because he left the 3rd season. Think about it. We went another 8 seasons, and he said, he came back and did a guest episode, and he was very, very, very straightforward. He said, biggest mistake I've ever made, no doubt about it. He would have been a multimillionaire. But money isn't everything, but I think he should have stuck around for a little while, because he was so great on the show, I thought.
And, interesting choice of the directors, because Steve was kind of the geeky one, and then you bring the handsome one.
Yes.
Macho type.
Steve was actually did a show. He was the first one cast on Married with Children, even before Ed and Katie, because he did a show with the producers before that.
So, and what about reunion? She also.
Oh, so the reunion, yeah. So the follow-up on the reunion question is, sadly, all these great shows you're seeing do these reunions. It's a sad thing, because we have a special kind of screwed up situation at Married with Children, where there is a child, I'll call him a child, he's in his 30s, he's an heir to the throne, so to speak, and he's making, I won't mention his name, he's making life a living hell to try to get the show up. I mean, literally. It's none of the cast, the whole cast wants to do it, even if it's just recurring roles. They all were really excited. Even Michael Moy was like, fuck yeah, I want to do this. So it wasn't that. It was simply one child who is a trust fund kid and is unwilling to come to the table. So unless he comes to the table to negotiate, and he hasn't yet, this is 5 years gone on now, I don't think you'll ever see a Married with Children reboot, sadly. And you know what? As I think about it more and more, it might be just as well you don't. Because Married with Children was one of those shows that you don't want to screw it up again later on, Maybe just leave it alone.
Yeah, sure.
Do you get annoyed by being known as that one guy from Married with Children? Or...
I don't anymore. I used to. Yeah. When I was a young man, I was just angry as crap. I don't know what my problem was. People would be like, hey, you're but I didn't even realize they were trying to give me love. I was so defensive because I hated being recognized at first. I didn't know how to acclimate, and so I thought people were picking on me when all they were trying to do was give me love. They'd be like, you're Bud Bundy. Yeah, you got a problem with that? You got a problem with Bud Bundy? I was crazy. I was absolutely psychotic. And then halfway down 3 years in, I was like, why would I want to fight this? And then I totally switched my attitude, and since then it's been, I don't care, because Married with Children and Bud Bundy was such a a fun character for people and a non-threatening, loving character that people genuinely love that guy. So when I go out, I meet the greatest people because of that kind of character that I played. Had I played like some, badass, sexy Justin Bieber type, I wouldn't get that kind of love from the people, that I do. I get great love from the people. It's cool. And I get out of a lot of tickets too from cops, because cops love Married with Children.
Thank you.
Cops and criminals.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you guys so much. You were great.
You can meet